Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is Wednesday, the 13th of January 2021. And this is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. As usual, I'm here with you all tonight. Befriend and share something that I think I know, that I think I have experienced, that I think it's appropriate for you all. If there is any other subjects that you want me to ponder on, you can text me as well, or any questions if you may have, then again you can send it to me. Meanwhile, most of the talks are available on YouTube. If you find difficult to find the specific talk on Facebook, because in Facebook it's always changing and there's so many things happening. It's very difficult to track back. So I try my best to edit and upload as soon as possible, if possible daily. So there is available for all other talks that I have given, and not only the talks but also guided meditations. So hello Anish from Thailand, Tun, Sandra, Brokhong Si, Alora from Alora, and Kalpana, Margaret, and everyone. And then again, thank you Margaret for your snow boots and groceries. Thank you very much for your generosity and offering and caring. And it was really lovely to have a chat with you and going through your difficult time and how you have overcome all the fears and found the purpose in our life, in your life. When we talk about the purpose of a life, in a way, our purpose can be different. It can change gradually. Because in the past I used to think that I wanted to be a policeman, and somehow because of the policemen were beating those who were protesting for the democracy, and then I gave up. And I had a thought of becoming a teacher, and then footballer, and then never had a thought of becoming a monk. And now here I am, 20 years of being a monk. And the purpose of each individuals are different in our lives. When we were young, or let's say think about a child. A child's purpose of every day would be sleep and get fed. Nothing more than that. And as the child grow up, the purpose of this child's desire every day would be playing with the toys and having a new toys, and they can spend a whole day playing with the toys. And if they can't get what they want, any particular toys, then that can be a very disaster. So that's why the sole purpose of that child will be getting a new toy. Now, a few years ago, I was very close with one of boys, and I normally looked after him, and normally, we went to Tesco's, and he wanted to have new toys. And now, if we say no, then he would cry and crawl and just lie down on the floor and crying, "It's not fair. I want this," and he will explain why he should have it. And he will give so many reasons that why should I have that toy. So this is his purpose in his life, to get that toy. And obviously, as they grow up, and during this time, until they are playing games or playing toys, and parents or siblings, sisters and brothers tell him to do, tell her to do something, they will be obeying. It's like the tamed dog. They will do everything. When we say sit down, they will sit. When we say come, and they will come. And when we say eat, they will eat. But as they grow up, when they become a teenage, then suddenly the big transformation. All their purpose is to be with their friends and playing with their friends, and nothing more than that. The sole purpose is to be with the friends and become a friends addict. We'll be going with the friends at all the time. So that's the sole purpose of the young teenage children. And as grow up, over 20s, there will be a different kinds of about 20 years, different kinds of a purpose comes into their minds, that what should I be in the future, which subject should I take so that I will be this and that. So these are the purpose in their lives, and it changes. And I can speak from my own personal experience that coming to UK was not in my dream. I even didn't know. And that wasn't my purpose. My purpose was to go to Australia or Japan or America at that time. And somehow this UK came in, and the situation changed, condition changed, and here I am, over 15 years. Living in UK. So that's why the purpose, our purpose that we are talking, always changing based on the circumstances that we are living in, based on the conditions that we are in. And meanwhile, there are plenty of people, those had a good education, thinking that they will be this or that. But end of the day, after the completion of their studies, they are doing something else. So purpose changed due to the conditions they are in. And here, whatever purpose is about sensual pleasures, anything that is related to the senses, that doesn't last long. That doesn't last long, because we can't be happy at all the time. We can't be unhappy at all the time. We can't be angry at all the time. We can't be joy at all the time. There is no permanent happiness on the basis of how we engage with the worldly matters. There is no permanent unhappiness either. Doesn't matter how deep you are unhappy and angry at something, that doesn't last long. As I said yesterday, this is entirely on our reaction to anything that happens. So the condition changes. So our purpose in our life also changes. And when we are going through that very difficult time, very difficult to cope with our illnesses or difficult life, and then it's like we don't have any hopes. We don't have any purpose in our lives. And we basically, thought of giving up. But suddenly that purpose can change by someone's examples, someone's real stories that we have heard. And these stories are kind of a key to change our purpose in our lives. And this purpose can help a lot to change our way of life. There is a story that happened in China that a couple, very poor couple, every day they have to go and work with other people, work in others' house and earn for livings. So basically every day they work for their own living. Didn't have a good house, didn't have a good nutrition and good foods, all relying on the others. And over the period of a time, despite they were not rich, poor, they were happy that they were living together, working together, and in a small hut. They're happy. And one day they got a boy, a child, and they worked hard a couple of years in order to raise this child. So the purpose, the first, before getting a child, a son, their purpose solely about go to work and get something to eat in the night. That's all their purpose in their life. But as they grow and as they have got this new boy, they have added another purpose that's not just a food that is we're going to eat every day, but also we have to think. So they have to think about the son's future. So they have to think about the son's safety, son's nutrition, food and shelter, and like that. So now their purpose has changed towards the son. And here we can see a lot of examples that parents are spending a lot of time, a lot of money for their own children in order to let them have good education, good social status, and supporting in every means of ways. And the story goes on as the boy grow up and the husband, a man, thought that this is not good enough. Now I better go to the city so that I can earn a little bit more and support the house. And he promised to his wife that, okay, I'm going to call you every single night. And they went, and then they departed. So the wife living with her son in the village, and the husband goes off to work in the city. As days passed, he always calls on the same time every night, and over the period of a time of working, he was sending the money, giving him money, sending the money to the house. And after a couple of months later, they began to call less and less and less, and over a year later they completely disconnected. And she was so worried. She didn't know where the husband was working, and what is um, the address. All what she had was a phone number, which again she tried to call and never able to talk, always engaged. And it went on, carried on for a couple of years, and suddenly one year, husband comes back with a new wife. And said, he didn't come with a new wife, but he had a new wife, and he comes back to village on a big car, and parked next to their old house. And that moment when her husband comes out from the car, he realized that there is something terrible gonna happen. And that was, the husband told her that the reason I didn't call you, because I have another lady, and I do not love you. So that's why I didn't call you. And I'm here to take my son with me. And immediately he spoke with the son and said, son, if you come with me, I will give you, you will be living in a big mansion house rather than this old hut. And I will give you money. You have a money, and you can do whatever you want. And this boy, without hesitation, decided to go with his father, thinking that he will have a better life. Now, early on, when husband didn't contact, she had a purpose in her life, was to look after her son. And now son decides to go with her husband. Then it was like a big storm in her life. She didn't know what to do. But however, she had a hope that my son loves me and he will come back to me. And with that hope, so that was the only purpose that keep her going. Even she had a thought of a suicide, but she decided to live on, as she had a hope that my son one day will come back to me. And it did happen. A couple of months later, there was a letter comes through the door, and in that envelope there was a few $100. And because of that, and she realized that, okay, although my son is not here, but at least he is supporting. And after a couple of, so every month he was sending her money. And after a couple of months later, he wrote a letter saying that, Mom, I love you. The reason I came with Dad, simply that I can support you. So that's how the purpose changed. And now here, when again we look at the purpose in our life, it's a material purpose that we are thinking of. But in a purpose, the greater purpose, according to the Buddha's teachings, is to attain the unconditional happiness that is for the longer period, or the eternal. Because that is not related to the essential condition. Because all essential happiness and joy, or the purpose for any essential pleasures, doesn't last long. So that's why the Buddha's teachings is to find the purpose that is everlasting. And that's called the Nibbana, which is the state of unborn, unconditioned state, everlasting, and which is beyond the conditioned states, beyond the essentially conditions. And that purpose in our life, what the Buddha was encouraging us to have. So that's why in our life we have to have stories to support us. We have to have someone at the side always encouraging us, because we are all not perfect. We have a deficiency in certain ways. Deficiency in not having a proper financial support, deficiency on the courage, the stamina, and the strength, and this deficiency on the wisdom and not knowing what should be done, like that. And we all need support from one another. So the purpose, that's why, is to support one another, to grow in the path to the liberation. And for the individually ourselves, we again have to have the right understanding that what you want to be, what you are looking for in your life. We can have a hope, but we shouldn't be thinking that that is the only hope. There's always choice. There is always a choice to do or not to do. It's entirely up to us how we make a choice. There is no way as we are in what's called a cul-de-sac. No way through. In our life, we always have options. So we have to keep those options open. And only then we see the success in our life. And those options, again, entirely up to us how we want to take turns. And in order to take a turn, we have to have a wisdom, we have to have a right understanding about the path that we are going to take, so that we will be successful in our life. So first, we have to have a proper understanding about the tasks, or the proper understanding about the purpose in our life. Not like when we were very young and then in the schools we were told and we were asked to think about what do you want to be, or what is your aims in your life. At that time it's like just a vague idea, and I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a policeman, I want to be an engineer. So many. But as you grow up, as we know, our purpose changes. But when we have this proper understanding about it, then we know that we can have a hope, and there are always options to follow. And not only having a right or a proper understanding about it, we need to be truly to oneself, truly true to oneself, and then to others too. Anything that you have understood completely, you have to be trustworthy, and you have to trust on that. It's called the truth. And alone truth is not enough. We have to have so-called a chaga, this generosity, this mind of being a generous. Sometimes we may have a good purpose in our life, but because of some reasons, there is ability to let go of that purpose and then move on to the new purpose in our life. And only then what happens that we become successful, what we aim for. And most importantly, having the tranquil mind, calm mind, peaceful mind, not swayed by the influence of praise or influence of blame. It's a complete peace and a harmony, a tranquil mind. When you have this state of a tranquil mind, what happens is that you will be able to transcend yourself from any difficulties that you are in. When we are suffering troubles, and we always think that why me? But the very moment when we see that there are someone more sufferer than me, then we see that compared to them, I have a less suffering. That's why we have a saying in our Buddhist communities. If you visit India, the Buddhist pilgrimage, for one time, you have stories to tell for whole life. And that's simply because you see that how difficult life they are living and how challenging life they are living compared to here, the life that we are living. So comfortable. It's like a heaven on earth compared to the people, those who are living there. So that's why the purpose is not only for the material or sensual pleasures. We have to think the ultimate purpose, that is the liberation from coming back to the samsara, the birth and death, and attainment of this nibbana, the supreme happiness. And that is the ultimate goal, a spiritual goal that Buddha was talking about. And that what we should look for and strive for. And in order to have that, we have to have a wisdom, and we have to trust on the right knowledge that we have acquired, an ability to let go of the past and move on with a new purpose, new life, and most importantly, having a tranquil mind, balanced mind, not swayed by the worldly affairs, but standing firmly on the truth and the balance. And with this, it brings happiness, it brings calmness, and with that, you're also channeling that peace and happiness to your family members, to the community, and then hopefully to the whole world. So I end here for tonight's reflection on the purpose of a life. So may you all be well and happy, and thank you everyone for watching, and may you, in a few moments time, we are going to have evening chanting. You're most welcome to join with us as well. So thank you everyone, and may you all be well and happy. In a few moments, see you soon. Thank you.